talking to Joe on the walk over. How long for me to train to beat Ronda? That'll never happen.
He wouldn't know. He's not an expert. He's a fan with an audience.
That's interesting.
Pause it. Here's the other thing I don't get. Here's the other thing I do not get. Bert and Joe are close. Other podcasters have, especially in the comedy world, have other comics on, and those hosts are close with Rogan. When you bring somebody on and they throw a jab at your boy, I don't understand how you don't defend them or stick up for them. It's such cuck behavior. I don't understand. I'm not saying he needs to get in a fist fight with Rhonda. I'm not saying these other comedy podcasters have to die on the hill and defend their boy. But what you're not going to do is come on my platform and throw jabs at one of my friends. I don't understand that.
All right, so it looks like the fallout from all the recent Rogan Sphere drama just keeps getting better, because now Rogan's friends are way too defensive of him, which is causing them to attack each other over pretty much nothing now. Like, I think Schaub saw how Schultz handled the situation with Andrew Santino and was inspired by that, so he also decided to call out Bert Kreischer for not having Rogan's back, because recently Ronda Rousey took a shot at Rogan while she's on his podcast, and the clip got a lot of attention, so I think Brendan definitely just saw this as an opportunity to do the same thing Schultz did with Santino, you know, call out one of Rogan's comedy friends for letting somebody talk shit about him on their podcast. But Brendan just seems way too defensive here, which Brian Callen and his producer were kind of trying to tell him, but of course he didn't want to listen. He just thinks they're not loyal enough. I mean, Brendan was acting like this was sad to see and he was really upset about it. But the funny thing is, I doubt Rogan even gives a shit about this at all. You know, especially compared to the Santino stuff. I think that probably actually affected him and he was bummed out about it. But with this situation, I can't imagine Joe watched this clip and is like, man, I expected better from Bert. You know, and you could tell Bert wasn't comfortable about it. And right afterwards, he praised Joe. But I guess that wasn't enough for Brendan, and he thinks Bert needs to be a better friend. Even though it's funny, because Brendan goes back and forth between being like, listen, I have no problem with what Bert did, I get it, but he needs to be more loyal and defend Joe more, and this is some cuck behavior from him. I mean, Brendan seems way more upset with Bert than Rhonda, and it's bizarre, because at one point, when he gets done calling out Bert for not defending Joe, he then starts defending Rhonda and what she said about Joe, so it doesn't make any sense. And also he compares this to Benjamin Netanyahu going on the Nelk Boys podcast.
It's one of the problems we have in mixed martial arts is, you know, this is no different than not Netanyahu going with the Nelk Boys. Big platform, Nelk Boys are great. Not going to get much pushback. I don't know if those guys are up to date on the political climate when it comes to that stuff. So again, it gets views, but Netanyahu can get views wherever he goes. Rhonda's going to get views wherever she goes. She could have went on anybody's pod in this, you know, because she doesn't do it a lot. For me, I think it would have been better for Rhonda if she would have went to somebody. I'm not saying me in the least bit. Ariel, there's so many people out there that she could go on their pod and it just have a knowledge, just to be like, I hear you. But what about this? Do you wish you would have done this different? You know, there's someone just with the knowledge where you can kind of lead her down this road and just ask questions and get her thoughts on it. Again, this isn't on Bert. This isn't his job. So I'm with Bert. Hell yeah, come on. What do you want to talk about? You know? So this isn't anything against Bert. You guys know I love the fuck out of Bert. How are you not defending your boy after all he's done for you? Even if say it wasn't Joe Rogan, say it was a lower level guy. If he's one of your boys, I don't understand how you don't defend them or stick up for them. It's such cuck behavior. I don't understand. So to defend Rhonda too, at Rhonda's level, with like the type of fighting she's done and her accolades, a guy like Rogan, like Brian would tell me, oh, I fought before. You haven't fought. Now, to the average person who's never been in any competition, yeah, they can say they fought. If you're talking to Ronda Rousey or someone that's fought at the highest level.
So he was all over the place, and most people were defending Rogan, and they know that Ronda is just bitter because she thinks Rogan and everyone turned on her, which Rogan can maybe relate to now. But at one point, he was like Ronda's biggest fan, He would talk about how she could beat half the men's division, how she could beat Floyd Mayweather in a UFC fight, and he'd sometimes get emotional even talking about her. But then after she lost her first fight, Rogan realized there are a lot of holes in her game, and he became more critical, which is definitely the reason why she keeps trashing him now and says he doesn't know what he's talking about. Which, ironically, if you're looking for examples of Joe not knowing what he's talking about when it comes to fighting, him praising Ronda's striking and her coach is one of the better examples of that, because her striking ended up being a huge weakness and her coach ended up being terrible. So him praising her for that ended up aging so poorly.
You guys training in Brazil on the beach, one of those workout days.
Oh, the open workout?
And you fucking hitting mitts, and I was like, Jesus Christ, what the fuck is going on in your gym? Because your striking has accelerated in these giant jumps. Like every 3 or 4 months when I watch like you hit mitts, I'm like, what the fuck are they doing? Like, speed is retarded.
Well, the thing is, people forget that like when I won the title the first time, it was like my 5th pro fight.
Yo, look at after
I was just getting
combinations,
started.
you're maneuvering, your
Yeah.
defense. It's not like hit and stand. It's so much different, you know?
Well, you have a lot of striking knowledge. It's very obvious. I've seen the work you've done with Ellenberger and with Travis. Not happy that Ronda Rousey lost, but in a way, it makes things easier because there was a bunch of fucking people that were going, oh yeah? What about Ronda Rousey? She'll kick in. And I made the mistake of saying, like, hyperbole, okay? I'm the master of hyperbole. I exaggerate all the time. I was like, she could probably beat half the men bantamweights in the UFC.
Is that true?
No, it's not. Definitely not true. I shouldn't have said it at the time. Now it's definitely not true. She could beat a few that aren't good outside the sport. Look, if she gets guys in the ground, she could fuck a lot of people up. Her judo is 100% legit.
Yeah, so it's just funny that Ronda trashes Joe for not knowing what he's talking about, because you could use him talking about her striking as an example of that. But I think Joe just got caught up in the hype. Then once reality hit and she lost her first fight, he's like, oh, she might be in trouble. And he changed his tune, which he probably just feels bad about the whole situation now. And I don't think he really cares that Ronda's taking shots at him, which is what Bert said right after. He's like, Joe's cool. He's not going to care. But Brendan cares. That's more important. He thinks Joe has too many cuck friends around him, and he's the only loyal one. And he's not going to tolerate any criticism or jokes about Joe anymore. Like he said, he finally went to the mothership, which is a big moment for him. But apparently while he was there, a comedian made fun of one of his comedian friends, and it killed the vibe for him. I guess making jokes about comedians at a comedy club is out of line now.
Bert should push back a little bit, though.
I mean, dude, it's got to be a tough position. That's why he was kind of like just laughing because he didn't know what to say. I get you got to defend your boys and stuff, but that's more like I don't know what the fuck to say here.
Yeah, even when I was at the mothership, you know, people throw jabs at close friends of mine, and they threw a jab at a buddy, and everyone laughed, and I just shook my head and went, I'm not jumping into it. I'm not adding to it. Having fun. No, man. And that's not my show, you know? If it was in here, I'd be like, no, hell no. Edit that, Jen. No, we ain't having that. I don't give a fuck who it is. If I came out and come on the show and rip, insert friend of mine, nah, I don't give a fuck. That would do great views. Not what I do, man. I don't give a fuck. It's not happening. Go on somebody else's platform, and they'll find it. That's the world we live in now. Just soft fucking people.
It's kind of wild. She came out of nowhere. Back in the headlines.
Yeah, and out of nowhere, and I would like if you gave me 100 podcasts, I would not have said, yeah, she's gonna come out of her PR retirement and go on Bert's.
Bert Kreischer?
But I don't get it.
Yeah.
But maybe she's a fan and feels comfortable with Bert and knows she's not gonna get pushed back and make sense. But this is part of the problem, you know? And again, it's not Bert's fault. Get your views, dog.
And you could tell he's being so passive-aggressive towards Bert. And he also might be bitter that Ronda would go on Bert's podcast, but not his. Also, Brendan used to date Ronda at one point. I just remembered that. I don't know if it has anything to do with this, but it's just funny. Brendan's acting like this is a big deal. You know, he also played this for Brian. And while they're watching it, you know, Brendan's already watched this like 10 other times, I'm sure. He's like, defend Joe, Bert. What are you doing? And then Brian's like, this isn't that big of a deal. But of course, Brendan says, oh, no, it's a pretty big deal. You know, he's just trying to make this into something bigger than it is. And it's hilarious because he's like, she's saying Rogan's not a fighter. But then right after Brendan says that, he's like, well, you know, Rogan's not a fighter. He never claimed to be. And you probably agree with her. So I don't know what his problem is. I mean, I think he's just kind of looking for a reason to defend Joe and call somebody out for not being loyal to him. And this was the opportunity he had.
He wouldn't know. He's not an expert. He's a fan with an audience.
It's interesting. Is that how you feel about you?
Never fought.
Defend him,
He
Bert.
fought Taekwondo, right?
Didn't know how to defend him.
Never fought. That's not fighting. It's not fighting.
Well, I'm gonna exit this conversation. No,
I don't want you to get any bad DMs. We need to get out.
I think
more to if you wanna see this
everybody's
one.
making a bigger deal about it. I mean,
It's a pretty big deal, B.
what do you mean?
When you say Joe Rogan's not a fighter.
He's
But here's my other thing. Rogan's not walking the streets of Austin.
never said he was.
Claiming to be some bad.
he wouldn't disagree. He's not gonna. Joe wouldn't say.
No.
I would do what Bert would do. Bert was like, "Oh, where do I go from here?" Yeah.
That's what I was telling Brendan too on Schaub show. I was like, I don't know what to say. I'm just gonna laugh, you know, because it's
I'm gonna
uncomfortable.
have myself a magic.
I would. I mean, obviously, I'm different than you and Bert. I would defend Rogan being an expert.
Yeah, you're a fighter. Just gonna have myself a little
Magic Mind.
Magic Mind Max because I need some flow. I need
If
some
Bert had
clarity.
that, maybe we would have put up a fight against
If
Ron.
Bert had some fucking Magic Mind, he would have been clear-headed.
So the Rogan sphere is on high alert now. You know, they'll go after anyone, even their own. And it managed to work for Schultz. You know, he put Santino in his place. So we'll see if this gets to Bert. I mean, it probably will, even though he didn't really do anything. But I think he'll probably get freaked out that Brendan's calling him out. But Rogan will probably tell him to chill. Let me know what you guys think about it, though. And I just posted a new video to Patreon about how some comics met with Osama bin Laden's brother while over in Riyadh. And then also, I've been talking about Theo Von's crash out on there and MAGA turning on Rogan. Things are getting ugly. And there are over 150 other exclusive videos, so it's definitely worth it if you enjoy the channel. Make sure you check it out. There'll be a link in the description.